Hey my friends, I hope you're having a very awesome week and it's beautiful outside, and the place where I normally film these videos wasn't available today, but I found a very special place at Manchester. This is the Friendship Garden, and it's in the very middle of the school in a little courtyard area that you can see when you walk around inside the building. So I'll flip the screen around real quick and I'll give you a tour. Let's check this out. Right in through those windows is the library. And normally there's a lot of flowers here, but they kind of bloomed already. It's really great. Alright friends, so next week on June 8th is National Ocean Day. And the ocean is something that I really love, right? So I found this amazing book called Down, 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 and it's going to give us kind of a really cool idea of the types of fish that live in the ocean as you get lower and lower and lower in the sea, right? And it's by a guy named Steve Jenkins, and he's an incredible writer, very smart, and he's also very talented at making art out of paper. And so all of the art in this book was done by him, and cutting out paper and shaping it to make fish, right? And the different animals that live in the ocean. So let me read the introduction of this book to you. Half the earth lies beneath water, more than a mile deep. But most of this watery world is a mystery to us. In fact, more people have walked on the moon than have visited the deepest spot in the ocean. Come along as we travel down, 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 from the surface to the bottom of the sea. Along the way, you'll see jellyfish that flash like a neon sign, creatures with teeth so big that they can't close their mouths, even a squid as long as a bus that battles to the death with a sperm whale, the largest predator on Earth. It'll be a journey you won't soon forget. So, let's check out this book. Down, Down, Down by Steve Jenkins. Viewed from space, the Earth looks like a watery blue ball. Oceans cover more than 2/3 of the globe's surface, and well over half the planet lies beneath water, more than a mile deep. We have explored only a small fraction of the oceans. In fact, more humans have walked on the moon than have visited the deepest spot in the sea. In this book, we'll descend from the ocean surface to the sea floor and travel through one of the most extreme environments on Earth. Along the way, we'll encounter some unusual creatures. You can find out more about these animals at the back of this book. Above the surface. Here, just above the surface of the western Pacific Ocean, the air is warm. Below us, gentle swells move across the water. It's calm now, but during a storm, powerful winds can churn the surface into mountainous waves. The Pacific Ocean is the largest body of water on the planet, with an area greater than all the Earth's dry land combined. At this spot, the water is more than 13,000 feet deep. Most life on land is found in a zone only a few hundred feet thick, from the tops of the trees to just beneath the ground. The oceans, on the other hand, average 2.5 miles in depth. They are home to the vast majority of living things on our planet. The water below us teems with life. Sometimes, without warning, the creatures of this hidden world burst into our own. And the left-hand side is a Portuguese man-of-war, a jellyfish, and an albatross bird. Out of the water. They may be pursuing prey, escaping danger, or sending a message to others of their kind. Whatever the reason, sea creatures sometimes leap from the water into the air. A huge shark, surging upward to grab its prey, lands with a splash that could empty a swimming pool. A small, sleek squid barely misses us as it shoots by, slipping back into the water with barely a ripple. Other creatures break the surface as well. There's a great white shark, a flying squid, flying fish, and a spinner dolphin. It's a small world. Near the surface, the water is warm, and brightly lit by the sun. Light-loving plants, algae, and bacteria, most single-celled and too small to see with the naked eye, are found here in uncountable numbers. Almost all life in the sea depends on these microscopic organisms, which use the sun's energy to help them manufacture their own food. They themselves are food for billions of animals, including shrimp like krill. Krill and other small organisms that drift along the ocean currents are called plankton. Mackerel and other fish gather in enormous schools to feed on plankton. And the fish on the left are mackerel, and the little guys on the right are krill. Big fish eat little fish. At a depth of 33 feet, the sunlight is already beginning to fade. The pressure is increasing. When we are above the surface, the weight of the air over our heads presses on every part of our bodies. This pressure isn't noticeable unless it changes, as when our ears pop in a fast elevator ride. Water is much heavier than air, and already the pressure has reached 2 atmospheres, twice what we experience out of the water. We are about as deep as most humans can dive without scuba gear. Life flourishes here. Large, fast-swimming predators eat smaller fish, herding them together into large, swirling balls. Seabirds, some capable of diving to depths of 220 feet, attack from above. Other animals feed on seaweed or jellyfish. And then from left to right, you've got bluefin tuna, a shearwater, a sailfish, and then the mackerel, the smaller ones. And then that big fish on the right on the bottom is that mola mola. And then there's a green sea turtle. Filter feeders. Not all large fish are fast swimming hunters. Both the whale shark, the world's largest fish, and the gigantic manta ray feed directly on plankton. They strain tiny plants and animals from the water passing over their gills. These filter feeders follow swarms of plankton from the surface to depths of several hundred feet. Jellyfish and many other smaller animals are also filter feeders, trapping the plankton with sticky tentacles or net-like antennae. The whale shark and the manta ray. Soft bodies. The light is fading, and the pressure is now 10 atmospheres, 10 times as great as the surface. Unlike air, water and other fluids don't compress much or get smaller under pressure. The bodies of most ocean animals are filled with fluid, so they don't have a problem with the pressure. Anything containing a hollow or air-filled space, such as a human body or a submarine, risks being crushed as it descends in the water. Jellyfish are common here. Comb jellies, a family of soft-bodied, transparent animals distantly related to jellyfish, are also plentiful. Jellyfish and comb jellies lack a brain, eyes, and a sense of smell, but they are efficient predators, capturing plankton and small fish with tentacles and sticky bodies. They rise from the depths at night to feed, returning to the safety of deeper water at dawn. And on the left are the compass jellyfish, and on the right is a girdle of Venus comb jelly. Interesting. Visitors from the deep. The twilight zone begins about 660 feet below the surface. From here on down, there is not enough light for plants to survive. Only animals live below this depth. To us, it appears completely dark, but many of the creatures here have eyes that are especially adapted to the faint light. The sunlit waters, with their rich variety of life, are just above us. Animals that are rarely seen at the surface rise from deeper waters to hunt in the twilight zone. And top left there is the nautilus, and below that is the oarfish. And then on the right-hand side of the bottom is the snipe eel, and above that is the goblin shark. Cool. Glowing in the dark. 9 of every 10 animals that live below the sunlit layer of the ocean are bioluminescent. They can produce their own light. Animals use bioluminescence to lure prey, confuse or startle attackers, or make themselves difficult to see. Animals also use light to attract a mate or send messages to one another. Because the ocean is so large and so many animals live here, bioluminescence is the most common form of animal communication on Earth. Only the slightest glimmer of sunlight reaches this depth, and only animals with extraordinarily sensitive eyes can detect it. Lights out. We can see the animals living in these dark waters because we've brought along a light of our own. Without it, we'd see nothing but blackness and the flicker and flash of animal bioluminescence. If we turn off our light, the scene on the previous page might look something like this. So that page before is the same as this one, only without a light shining on the animals. So they have their own glowing lights. That's all you could see if you were down that deep. It's snowing. We've reached the dark zone. Not even the faintest sunlight can reach us here. It's getting colder, and the pressure is enormous. Few submarines can dive this deep without being crushed. All around us, a delicate marine snow is falling. It's composed of dead plankton, fish scales, animal waste, and bits of larger creatures that have died in the waters above. These particles are the basis of life here. Small animals feed on marine snow and become prey for larger hunters. And you've got the pram bug in the bottom left, the pelican eel in the middle, and a deep sea jellyfish, top right, and then below that is the arrow worm. Interesting. Curiouser and curiouser. Animals that live in pitch black water have developed some unusual ways of defending themselves and finding prey or something to eat. One deep sea shrimp squirts bright, sticky goo into the face of an attacker. The hunter, lit up with glowing gunk and unable to hide, is likely to become a victim itself. Other dark zone creatures attract prey with glowing lures. The female hairy angler dangles her lure at the end of a stalk protruding from her head. She has a small fish attached to her side. It's the male hairy angler, which has fastened itself to the female with special teeth. Soon his body will fuse to hers. There he will remain, living off the female's body for the rest of his life. When do we eat? The water is very cold. We begin our descent in warm tropical water, but at these depths, the ocean is the same frigid temperature everywhere in the world. The pressure is so great that only a few research vessels can explore here. There are fewer animals to be found, and the ones that do live here may have to go a long time between meals. Unlike the large, fast-swimming predators of the sunlit zone, most animals here are small and need less food. They ambush their prey, waiting quietly for it to get close, then lunging and grabbing with long, sharp teeth. Some hunters have a stomach that can stretch to many times its normal size, allowing them to swallow an animal that is larger than they are. Wow. The bottom left is the loose jaw stoplight fish. In the middle is a black swallower. And in the top right is a fangtooth. Whoa. The battle of the giants. The sperm whale is the largest predator on the planet. Like all whales, the sperm whale is a mammal, and it must come to the surface to breathe. As it hunts for giant squid, its favorite food, the sperm whale dives deeper than any other air-breathing animal. When attacked, the giant squid fight back, and many sperm whales are deeply scarred with squid sucker marks. The fierce battles of these giants take place in total darkness, marked only by the bioluminescent flash of deep-sea comb jellies and other small animals. Ooze. We have arrived at a flat, nearly featureless surface. It's the abyssal plain. Sediment and marine snow has drifted down from above for millions of years, forming a layer of ooze that may be thousands of feet thick. Most animals here survive by sifting through the mud for bits of food. A few are predators or scavengers, eating other seafloor creatures and larger animals that die and sink to the bottom. Rocky outcrops here and there in the mud provide a habitat for the sea lily, an animal that looks like a plant, and other creatures that attach themselves to hard surfaces. Soon we'll continue our descent. We have a long way to go before we reach the deepest part of the ocean. But first, we'll investigate what looks like a city of smoking towers. Turn up the heat. These structures are hydrothermal vents, sometimes called black smokers. The dark plumes are formed by minerals in the volcanically heated water. The water, which can be hot enough to melt lead, pours from openings or vents in the sea floor. The minerals in the water collect and form towers, some as tall as 10-story buildings. Until recently, scientists believed that all life on Earth is dependent on sunlight. Plants use the sun's energy to make food, and animals eat the plants and each other. In the 1970s, however, oceanographers discovered communities of animals that get their energy from sulfur-loving bacteria. The bacteria feed on chemicals dissolved in the hot water. These vent creatures exist nowhere else on Earth. It's even possible that life on our planet began in a place like this. Not far from these vents, the seafloor drops away into a deep trench, where we will continue our downward journey. How low can you go? Here, at the deepest spot in the sea, there is almost 7 miles of water above our heads. This is the Challenger Deep. It is part of the Marianas Trench, a seafloor canyon in the western Pacific Ocean. Humans have visited this place only once. In 1960, the U.S. research vessel Trieste reached the seafloor with 2 scientists aboard. The descent took 5 hours, but the men stayed on the bottom for only 20 minutes. Unmanned probes have explored the Challenger Deep on a few other occasions, but it is still one of the most remote places on the Earth. The pressure here is 1,100 times greater than at the surface, and the temperature is a constant 36 degrees Fahrenheit. Even here, life can be found. Shrimp, worms, flatfish, and thousands of kinds of bacteria live in the ooze or just above the muddy bottom. It's time to return to the surface. The trip will take 2 hours, and except for the lights we brought along, we will be in complete darkness until the last 2 minutes or so. Just about every time humans venture into the deep ocean, they discover new and unexpected animals. Some scientists believe that we've seen fewer than half the large animals living in the sea. If we're lucky, we'll encounter some of these unknown creatures on our return trip. That was a really interesting book, friends. Thanks so much for listening. I hope that you're able this summer to get out in the ocean and enjoy the water and maybe find some sea creatures of your own. And have a great day, and I'll see you again real soon, okay? Bye-bye.